What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Latin Wealth Club podcast. So welcome back, Latin Wealth Club. You know, our viewers, you're a part of Latin Wealth Club. This is your host, MP, and behind the scenes,
AZ.
And today we're going to talk about how I personally avoided the Matrix, right? And then I asked myself this question, right? Because I avoided the Matrix living at my parents' house. Now that I live on my own with my beautiful girlfriend, Giselle, I asked myself, how would I escape the Matrix now that I pay rent, I have more bills, I have more responsibilities, right? It was kind of like a difficult question to ask because I wouldn't know what 9-to-5 job I would be doing, right? But I would say an average medium income here in California is probably, $5,000 maybe? So I kind of went based off of that, right? I just did some numbers. I used my formula that I use living at home, and I pretty much made it into a formula that I would use now, right? But that's going on to later on. What we're going to do first is we're going to talk about how I did it. We're going to go into the formula, and then after the formula, we're going to answer a question that we got from a fellow subscriber, a fellow follower, and a fellow Latin Wealth Club member. He has a genuine question, and I think it's a question that a lot of people might have because he actually started a side hustle, and he told me that it kind of failed for him, right? He kind of gave up. And I think answering this question could avoid a lot of people's mistakes just by hearing it. Okay, so let's get started with how I personally avoided it, right? Just a little background. I've been an entrepreneur since the age of 8. Right. I am gonna post a background video story that I took 3 years ago. It's actually on YouTube, but what we're gonna do is download that and we're gonna post it on this channel. So for you guys to watch and learn a little bit about me and how I used to think 3 years ago. But I've been an entrepreneur since the age of 8, and I started my detailing business at the age of 17. I wasn't moved out. I was not planning on moving out either. I only moved out because I met the one. My whole thing was I was going to move out until I bought a house. I was going to wait for the recession, the market crash, this and that. Things changed and I moved out. But when I was moved in with my parents, this is what I did. All right, guys. So now I'm going to explain to you the formula I used to avoid even joining the Matrix. I posted a spin move. We'll post it on here too. It's a 49er player. Boom. That was me avoiding the Matrix at the age of 17. Okay? How do I do it? So this formula, first and foremost, let me make it clear. I was living at home at the time. So this formula would only work if either you're living at home or it's just a side hustle, meaning you still have a 9-to-5. You're not letting go of your 9-to-5 if it's a side hustle. You never let it go. Okay? What you want to do is your initial investment, right? You get your initial investment. Let's say it's $1,000. Okay? It's $1,000, your initial investment. What you want to do is you want to make that back times 4. Make that back times 4, which will equal $4,000. What you want to do with that $4,000 is use 3 times of your initial investment, which would be $3,000 for company insurance. So what do I mean by this, okay? So remember how we had the financial advisor, Richard, on our podcast, and he said that you need to have 3 to 6 months of necessary expenses in order for you to, start investing, paying off debt, buying life insurance. You have to have your savings, your emergency fund. Well, this is your emergency fund for your side hustle, while you have your 9-to-5 or while you're living at home starting a business, okay? This is your cushion. So if anything happens, a recession, the Fed being dumb again, anything, right? Sales slow down, anything. You're backed by this. Well, shoot, now your business is actually backed by something, unlike the U.S. dollar. Right? Little joke there. But you're going to use now, right? You used 3 times, so now you're left over with 1,000. What I used this 1,000 was for operating costs. Right? What I mean by operating cost, Hold on. What do I mean by operating costs? What I mean is marketing, right? Maybe I'm paying for Instagram ads. Maybe I'm buying business cards. This is your operating costs. It's your cost that, that your expenses to run your business, right? To market, to bring in new clients, to, put the word out there, okay? This is step one. Step one. Don't ever skip that. Literally, don't ever skip that. Now we're going to go to step two. If you follow this, if you follow what I used, like, once again, this is personal experience. You guys can switch this up to numbers that work for you, okay? If this works for you, like it worked for me, if you do this and you stay committed to this, you will now turn your side hustle profitable. Right? Everyone likes to talk about the big P word. Profit. Oh, damn. That looks messed up, right? Look like kindergarten did it. Anyways, everyone likes to talk about the P word. Profit. Okay? What are you going to do with your profit? What did I do? What I did was I saved 25% of it, and I paid myself 25% of it. Why did I pay myself the same amount I was saving? The reason why I paid myself the same amount that I was saving was because if I had 3 tremendous, amazing months in my business, and then I had 3 slow, very, very depressing months in my business, the 3 months allowed me to get paid for 3 months while saving 3 months of my payment. Now when I'm slow, now I'm backed by the savings of my pay. When you're backed by the savings of your pay, when you pay yourself, you never have to touch your operating cost to your company insurance. Because once this is gone, you go to here. This is your fallback. This is your plan B. And if, you get here, you failed. But I mean, you should never get there. It's plan A, plan B. Okay? This could grow over time as you make more profit, because this will go here to the saved payroll would go into company insurance, right? That company insurance will take care of payroll, will take care of operating costs. So if you follow the formula that I made, this is pretty much, you cannot go bankrupt. If you go bankrupt, you're done. I'm sorry to break it to you, but that's the sad truth. Okay, now I'm left, right? This is out of 100%. It's out of 100%. So now I'm left with 50%. What did I do with that 50%? I invested it. Okay, that's kind of shitty, but I invested 50% of it into dividend stocks. Oh my God, that's bad. Anyways, I invested it 50% into dividend paying stocks, giving me passive income, giving me extra income, because it's a side hustle and I'm living at home. So if I'm living at home, I don't have bills. I can save and invest as much as I want while paying myself the bare minimum, because I don't have no responsibilities. If it's a side hustle, I still have my 9 to 5. So I never need to touch this. I don't ever have to touch this. And this right here is extra income. And here's where my passive income. This is where I'm building passive income now. This formula works. This is how I avoided the matrix. And this is how I also went from only having $800 at 18 to being worth $250,000 by the age of 21. Okay? Now, we're going to move on to when you're moved out or that side hustle becomes a full-time hustle. All right, guys. Now, we're going to talk about if you're moved out like I am now, right? If I'm working a 9 to 5 matrix job, I'm only making $5,000. And, I'm living paycheck to paycheck, right? I'm paying rent, I'm paying groceries, I'm paying my utilities, and I don't have too much to save. Maybe I have a couple extra $100, but I used that $100 to invest into a side hustle, okay? Or my side hustle became a full-time hustle now. Now we're in the big leagues. Now we're officially a small business. We have our LLC done. We have all that good stuff done. We have all the legal stuff done. We're making over, $48,000 a month, a year, I'm sorry. your business is bringing that in that revenue in order for you to start an LLC, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, we got to check that with certified taxes with Kevin Diaz over there. But anyways, or like I said, you're moved out and you want to start a side hustle. How would you do it? Right. These pretty much step one stays the same. Okay. Step one stays the same. The reason why it stays the same is because, well, if it worked for your short term, your side hustle, by that time with profit and everything, your company insurance should be, it shouldn't be $3,000 if it was $1,000. It should be maybe like double that, triple that. You should have $6,000, $9,000 just sitting in your business bank account or your business savings account.
High yield savings account.
Yeah, or high yield savings account, while having a 4 to 6% dividends investments, right? Because you're investing 50% back then. You're no longer investing 50%. I'll get to that right now. But you'll also have your passive income. You have your extra income. Now that extra income became your active income. It replaced your 9 to 5. Now you're making income, right? If you're full time. But if you're moved out, right, and you're barely starting out, this formula works the same with full time, because now we're doing conservative numbers. Okay, so step one stays the same. Step two is where it changes. Step two is no longer saving 25%. We are now saving 60%. Yes, we went up like a lot on the savings. Why did we go up a lot on the savings? Well, you moved out. You have a lot of responsibilities. If your business starts failing, you need a lot more money to cover your ass. Okay? So that's why you would be saving 60%. How much would I be paying myself? If you are moved out, right, and you're full-time, so we're going to do FT for full-time. If you are full-time, you're going to pay yourself half of this. At this point, if this number doesn't take over your full-time matrix 9 to 5 job, you cannot go full-time. You cannot. If you moved out and you're barely starting a side hustle, and this 30% doesn't take over whatever your full-time job is, you cannot move out. This number cannot change. Don't give yourself raises. The only way you can is give yourself a raise is if this number changes. But in reality, none of these numbers could change. Okay, full-time entrepreneur, 30%, 60% savings. This is my formula, okay? Or you're moved out and you're starting a side hustle. In reality, this 30% would go down here. Okay, if you are moved out, you're not going to touch this money. You're going to invest it. You know, you're moved out, but remember, side hustle. Okay, you're moved out, but it's still a side hustle. Okay, and you're trying to escape the matrix. This is when you're already a full-time entrepreneur. The formula works the same. I'm using this formula right now. Okay, now we live with 90%. You're going to invest only a conservative 10%. You went from, if you went from short side hustle, to full-time hustle, you went from 50% to 10%. The reason why you went to 10% is because by that time, your brokerage account should be big enough to be good. And 10% is still good. Okay? If you're moved out and it's a side hustle, 10% is a conservative, great rule of thumb to do, because you do not want to overinvest in case of there's, like I said, economic slowdown, business isn't working out the way it's supposed to. You know, you are going to actually be investing 40%. I'm sorry. I almost forgot to put that. So if you are moved out, this is you. If you're full-time, this is you. Okay? You're investing 10% if you're a full-time entrepreneur, because you need to, one, make sure you're getting paid and make sure you have your savings, and maybe you have a worker, maybe you have a helper at that point when you're full-time. So you want to have his pay, backed, and you want to have your pay backed. Okay? Just in case anything happens, but you also got to remember you still have step one. You still have step one. But please, this one's important. I know a lot of people might say, well, why do I need to save if I have step one? You have to save, because if anything were to happen, now you're backed by two things. This backs your pay, this backs your business. You see what I'm saying? Now you have one thing that's backing the company, one thing that's backing your pay. If you have one thing that backs both of them, well, you're going to run out of money sooner than you think. That's the sad truth, okay? Now, paying yourself. If you're full-time, you're 30%. If you're not full-time, if you're still a side hustle, but you're moved out and you have bills, you're going to invest that, right? You know, it is a little difficult when you're moved out and you're trying to escape the matrix, because you're not going to invest 50, but you're going to invest 40, and you're going to be saving 60% of your side hustle money. And like I said, you should not be touching that, because if you're moved out and it's still a side hustle, you still have your 9-to-5 job. So this money, your extra income, could go to maybe finally taking your girl out. Okay, could go to a day at Six Flags, Disneyland. Okay, but the savings and the company insurance should never be touched, because you want, if you have a side hustle, the side hustle could lead you and could branch off to two different things. What are those two different things? A side hustle could grow into a full-blown blowing business, or the side hustle then grows your net worth, your money, your capital into buying investment opportunities. You're talking about real estate. You're talking about dividend investing. More money here. Okay? Now you're able to buy income. Now you're able to buy passive income by investing. So, it depends on your goal, right? Some people with a side hustle is just to make extra money so that they could get into real estate. They could finally buy real estate. Some people want to make it into a full-blown business. If you want to make it into a full-blown business, it's 10%, 30, 60. Okay? If it's a side hustle, you still want to keep your 9-to-5, it's going to be 60 and 40. That's just the way it works. But you got to also stay committed, dedicated, and disciplined with step one. You never touch that money. That's the company's money. That's not your money. You have to learn the difference between personal money and company money. Never switch the two. Don't be going out to bars on the company credit card. Don't be doing that. That's how people go bankrupt. See what I'm saying? If you could afford it and it's a tax write-off, hey, go for it. But you got to make sure whatever you're spending that night, you have 10 times that amount sitting in that bank account. Okay? Now, I do want to say, this is not overnight success. It took me 4 years to move out and be comfortable with my rent, with everything. I kind of moved out pretty rushed, right? But I also gassed up my hustle, okay? I was already 4 years into my business, so I was pretty comfortable, right? And I would just put it this way. You need to understand delayed gratification. Nowadays, with my generation, and a lot of people that grew up in maybe like the phone era, maybe more the technology people, generations, we grew up with instant gratification. What do I mean by that? You go on Google, you look it up, it's right there. It doesn't take more than 2 seconds. This takes years. This takes commitment. If you remember, if you know us from the American Cholo podcast when we were on, I said that there's my 3 keys to success, right? To making a goal and accomplishing and crushing that goal. Number 1, you got to visualize that goal. You got to commit to that goal, and you got to take action. So, if you want to really escape the matrix, you got to visualize you escaping the matrix. You got to commit to your system, your formula, because system and formulas work. Okay? And then number 3, you have to take action, and you have to stick with the numbers, with your system. You cannot break your system. You break your system, you break yourself. You fail your system, you fail yourself. And you should be ashamed of that. Okay? I'm just saying. All right, guys, a little bit of a technical difficulty there. Our camera battery died, but we're back, right? And like I was saying, if you go bankrupt, if you mess this up, you should be ashamed of yourself because you weren't dedicated, you weren't committed, and you didn't take action properly. But to summarize it, okay, step 1 is a must-do. If you don't have step 1 down, you're going to fail. Like I said, if you're moved out, you have a 9-to-5 and you have a side hustle, right? You already went through step 1. You're saving 60%, you're investing 40%. If you are a full-time entrepreneur, my system, the one I use, 60% savings, 30% pay, 10% investments, okay? If you're living at home, you have no responsibilities, no bills, but you have a small side hustle or a small business, you'll be saving 25%. You'll be paying yourself 25% because you want this to be backed by that, and you're going to be taking risks. I took risk. Like I said, that's how I went from $800 at 18 to $250,000 by the age of 21, was investing 50%. Every financial advisor is going to say that's a no-go. That guy is risky. He's crazy, blah, blah, blah. Well, it worked for me. And this is all my personal experience and what I would do, right, if I was in the Matrix and I was trying to escape and I was trying to build a side hustle while working a 9-to-5, because I'll never let go of that 9-to-5 if this if when I'm full-time, if the 30% isn't paying me more than my 9-to-5. If this isn't paying more than this, you cannot quit this. You cannot quit that. If this does not surpass this, you cannot quit that. You cannot leave the Matrix until this is more than this. Okay? And like I said, this is not going to happen overnight. It's not overnight success. You're not going to become a instant millionaire. This takes years. This takes dedication, commitment. This takes not touching the company money. Understanding that your business is an investment. Understanding that you also have other investments working for you. You're earning passive income. You're earning extra income. And that extra income is backed by your savings. And the savings are backed by your company insurance, which is step one. It takes a long time. You're not going to see any money for a very long time. But if you do it correctly, it is bulletproof. I am a living product of it at 23 years old. I am telling you, it is bulletproof. This is what I use to find my success at a young age. Okay? I'm not a millionaire, though. I don't want you to sit here thinking I drive a Huracan. I still drive a 2018 Corolla. I have a decently sized apartment in a pretty decent area. Okay, I'm well on my way over there, and you're joining me in the process. Now, this is a formula I created that helped me, okay? But we're going to answer a question from a fellow member of Latin Wealth Club, Jesse Hernandez. Hey, welcome to Latin Wealth Club, bro. I noticed that you've been following us, so, welcome and welcome back. So, check this out. He asked us a great question. He said, trying to step out, doing your own thing, right? Doing your own little side hustle, starting your own little business. I understand. He says, when things don't go as planned, how easy is it to go back in? Okay, well, look. It's not easy at all. If you failed, it's most likely because you didn't do step one, right? Your company insurance. That's probably the reason why you fell. Okay, but if you have step one down, you cannot fail. Because step one is always going to back you up in any type of slowdown, sales slowdown, or anything like that. Because I did ask for details, and he was telling me how, short-term wise, if sales aren't there, you could get unmotivated. But if you focus on step one, and you don't touch that money, and you let it sit there, you're always going to have a rebound. And, you can't take profit until you have that company insurance. You need to make sure your company or your small business is backed by some form of capital, some form of cash. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it's difficult. I understand, but this is what it takes to escape the matrix, to have financial freedom. You have to create a system and be dedicated and disciplined on the system. You have to be committed. Just how you can marry your wife, you can marry your girlfriend, or you might play for the other team, you can marry your husband. You need to be committed. Just how you could be committed in a marriage. Okay? But with that being said, guys, if you watch this video to the end, give us a like, leave us a comment, share this with a friend. Let people know about Latin Wealth Club and what we're doing and how we're showing people how to escape the matrix. I know 49% of you guys are stuck in it and want to escape. I think AZ has something to tell you. What's up?
Yeah, no, I just want to throw in that, if some people have problem with saving, right? I mean, some people they struggle to save.
So you got to find that dedication, bro.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think one resource I found that's completely free is an audiobook on YouTube. It's called The Richest Man of Babylon. You can just search it up on YouTube.
Do you not remember Richard recommended me that book?
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh shit, no shit.
Yeah, remember when he came on the
crazy.
podcast, right? Yeah, before the podcast, he had said like you should read it.
Yeah,
or I think it was after.
Yeah, dude. I had read that book a couple years ago, and I mean, it was
amazing,
dude. For
Richard said the same thing. That's crazy. I'm gonna really have to look into it now.
And it's free. It's on YouTube. It's an audiobook. You can also, of course, you can get it on paper, but if you just listen to it, I mean, it's amazing. The story,
the mindset, right?
Yeah, exactly, and also the way he writes it, and how he writes a story to make it a lot more interesting and captivating.
Now, we'll say, right, for you to be disciplined, committed, and this and all that good stuff, for you to stick to these systems, you need to learn how to talk to yourself. You need to overcome the little bitch voice in your brain, the one that, when you're waking up early, the one that says 5 more minutes. That's your little bitch voice talking. You need to learn how to talk to yourself. You need to learn how to discipline yourself. Remember, I shared a video of my parents running the LA Marathon. I learned 3 things from them. If you remember, I shared this with you guys. I shared the special moment with you guys, and I shared something I learned from them, which was, 1, you need to learn how to self-discipline. 2, never let any obstacles in life stop you from your goal. And 3, you need to stay dedicated, consistent every freaking day, bro. Even when you don't want to do it, you have to learn how to manage that little bitch voice in you. And then once you learn how to do all that, you have mental toughness. Now, when you're mentally tough, you are unstoppable. Right now, I'm not fit, but I'm actually getting really unhealthy right now for you guys because I want to bring you guys along a Andy Frisella challenge, another entrepreneur that I respect a lot. He's actually he's made it. Like, he's a big dog. I'm a pup still, and he has this challenge called the 75 Hard Challenge. We'll talk more about that later. But like I said, it is the end of the video. Just wanted to have easy talk and say a couple more last finishing words. But once again, thank you, members, for joining us on another Latin Wealth Club podcast. A little different scenery, huh? Standing up. I don't know. I kind of like this. We'll see how it goes, though. Anyways, I hope my system made sense. If you guys have questions, comments, and concerns, hit the Latin Wealth Club DM. Make sure to check us out on Instagram and on YouTube. So, yeah, guys. Anyways, thank you for the support. All money in, no money out. Stay dedicated, stay motivated, and we'll see you on the next one.